Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, welcome to my channel. My name is Haley and I am a Peace Corps volunteer serving in Cameroon in the health sector, 2018 to 2020. So for this video, I decided to make a video interviewing some of the older volunteers. So Peace Corps, you can apply for Peace Corps when you're 18, and you can apply all the way into your 70s, 80s, whatever, it doesn't matter. Peace Corps Cameroon doesn't actually have that many older volunteers, and by older I mean the oldest is 33, so not very old. But other countries do have 70 and 80-year-olds who are serving. But I thought it'd be interesting to do an interview with the older volunteers, since the majority of people who do come to Peace Corps Cameroon at least are people who have just graduated college in the last year or 2 years, so they're fresh out of college. But older volunteers who have kind of lived life, maybe been married, had jobs, had a car, whatever, they definitely have a different experience, especially because we're all these young ones coming. Well, they're young too, but you know what I'm saying. So I thought it'd be interesting to interview them. So the video you're about to watch is me interviewing the three of the older ones that we have in country, all of which are my friends. So yeah. Rachel, how old are you?
Hi, I'm Rachel Prout. I'm 30 years old.
Okay. Lisette, how old are you?
I am 33 years old.
Denise, how old are you?
I am 30 years old.
What did you do before the Peace Corps?
I'm actually a licensed psychotherapist, and I was a quality assurance analyst.
Okay.
What didn't I do is the real question. I worked at Trader Joe's for 11 years, all throughout college. I then worked at a group home. I did substitute teaching. I am a certified yoga instructor. I worked to do, I was an educator at a nonprofit doing domestic violence prevention, and I have worked at a law firm. I've done a lot of social justice and community organizing and teaching stuff. Well, I've done a plethora of jobs, jack of all trades, but immediately before I came, I worked in museums. I did museum education, and then I did visitor services.
Okay. Why did you decide to join?
Oh, well, I wanted to join 10 years ago, but life keeps coming up. Boyfriends, jobs, so on and so forth. And 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago now, a guy that I'd been seeing shattered me, broke my heart, and I was like, well, I had paid off some of my student loans, paid off some of my credit cards, was living at home, had very little debt. I was like, well, it's now or never. It's either I do it now, I financially can do it, or I kind of let it go and don't ever do it. I decided to join because I knew that Peace Corps had a very strong reputation, within the social justice, human rights, global development world, and I knew that I was ready to dive in and just change and live abroad and totally experience a whole new culture.
I thought of joining the Peace Corps when I had recently graduated college. Unfortunately, my dad got really sick. I donated a kidney, so I donated my kidney to him, so I couldn't leave the States. And then the Peace Corps kind of just was not an option at the time.
Okay.
But now it is.
Now it is. What did your family and friends think about you joining?
My family and friends were very excited because they knew that I had wanted to go abroad, and a lot of previous opportunities fell through. But my best friend was a little nervous. She said, I think the Peace Corps is going to make or break you. And it has been making me, not breaking me. Oh, my family was all about it. They're like, bye, see you later, have fun. I talked to my mom first and I was like, I'm thinking about doing this. She's like, awesome, go for it.
Mm-hmm.
But my mom joined the military at 17, so she was another one that was off to see the world. My grandmother and my grandfather moved at 17 and 18 from Canada to the U.S., not knowing English.
Mm-hmm.
Our family tends to be a bit adventurous.
Okay.
They did not know what the Peace Corps was. That was the first response. And then when I explained it to them, it was like, are you crazy? That's how that was.
I think that's a common one for a lot of us.
Yeah.
What steps did you have to take before joining?
And you mean in terms of?
Like if you had a car, did you have to sell a car, loans?
I gave up my car, my Jeep that I loved. I gave up my first apartment. So that was a little tough. I gave up a really good job that was very good in terms of like security and benefits. So yeah, I gave up a few things.
No, I didn't have a car nor a house. I moved back. I was living in DC for 4 years. Thankfully, my lease ended in July and I moved back to California, and I just quit a job, and then pretty much the only adult thing I did was move my 401k to a different program, and I had to pay off some debt. That's
Yeah, the next one was gonna be like anything about loans.
Yeah, but I didn't have any student loans or anything.
Okay.
So
The first thing I had to do was pay off my credit card debt. Originally, I was supposed to go to Thailand, but I got sued a couple years ago, more than a couple years ago, probably 6 or 7 years ago, for credit card debt, and they never filed it with the court system as being a closed case. So I had to deal with that, make sure that was closed out. I paid off my car, student loans, various financial situations.
Mm-hmm. What has been the hardest thing about leaving home to come serve?
The hardest thing was I'd finally started working in the field that I wanted to work in. I'd been there a year when I left, so about 6 months into it is when I applied, and that was difficult, knowing that working in a museum, it's really hard to get those jobs. So once you find them, you kind of got to hold on to them and just keep climbing the ladder. And instead, I had it for a year and then came here. So that was a hard decision.
Okay.
That I don't get to be a part of my niece's life. I left when she had just turned 2, and although she knows me, I think I have a fear that she's gonna forget who I am, and then I miss my grandma.
yeah, I think the hardest thing about leaving the States, the States, I mean, is like just missing big milestones. I have a lot of good friends that are married and have kids, and especially my best friend has a 1-year-old, and just missing her grow up, and just other things. So, and just perhaps missing some time with my elderly grandma, because she's in her early 90s and she might pass away while I'm in service.
What's it been like being one of the older volunteers?
It wasn't fun at first. It was really difficult. I truly struggled with it during pre-service training, but then towards the end of pre-service training, and then when I finally got to my post, I just thought, well, this doesn't even really matter anyways. Like, we're all in this together. We all have different experiences, and this is just my truth, that I decided to work X amount of years, and now I'm doing this job.
In fact, in Cameroon, the oldest
Being
volunteer.
the oldest volunteer in Cameroon. I think some of the difficulties that I have is having all of the rules imposed on you. When you're in college, you are still having some of the rules from your family. You have dorm rules, you have class rules, you have rules academically. At 32 years old, 33 years old, for 15 years, you've had essentially no rules. You do what you want, when you want, how you want. You learn from your mistakes, and you come here and you have to relearn life all over again under certain rules. So you first get in the country, you live with a family that is watching you like a hawk to make sure that you're cleaning the floor right when you've been washing floors for the last 15 years by yourself, doing your own laundry by yourself, cooking for yourself, and then all of a sudden you have to do it under this umbrella all over again.
Mm-hmm.
And it's particularly difficult.
Everyone sucks. No, just saying.
Excuse me.
Actually, no. I think it's great. I think I had a really difficult time acclimating with everyone else and just like fitting in. But I think that it just really, I admire them. I think that anyone that's just like leaving college and making a decision to leave from, you know, leave their family and friends at such a young age, really have this motivation to and the strength. I think that if I was at that age, I wouldn't have been able to do it, and it just makes everything even more, it makes me more comfortable in knowing that I chose at a good time to come join the Peace Corps.
Yeah. You kind of answered this one already, but it was, what have you given up by making this decision later in your life?
You know, while this experience is very growth promoting, it's also we're stuck, right? I mean, where we're going, we're not going forward, but we're not going backwards. We're in our villages and we're like trying to make our villages sustainable, but our lives, our personal lives, they're at a, they're on hold.
They're in limbo.
Yeah, they're on hold.
Well, potentially right now I could, if I found someone I could have a kid with, and but I don't really think I'm giving up that much. Like I've never been a person that like wants to buy a house at a certain age, wants to be this by a certain age. So I think I'm not really giving up a lot. Yeah.
Everything. I mean, you do. You give up everything. You give up a career that you work for. You give up friends that you are not just like school acquaintances that you kind of know you're not gonna have for lifelong. You've made real, legitimate, long-lasting relationships with people. I became best friends with my mom. You move out of that I'm your daughter, you're my mother dynamic into this is my friend dynamic. Giving that up and knowing that you're not going to have that every day. Giving up basic freedoms like driving your own car just to go get groceries. Here you can't do that. It's just you give up everything that you knew to go do something brand new, which is great, but it's a little bit different than like coming out of college, for instance. Coming out of college, you're still learning your way and who you are, and at 32, 33 years old, you kind of already know who you are, what you like, what you don't like, and then trying to adapt that to something new is very difficult. Giving up your liberties, I guess.
Yeah. What challenges do you think you'll have when you get home?
Finding a job, I think, is my biggest concern at this point in time. My mom's already told me that when I come back, if I need a place to stay, I can stay with her again. So I'm not concerned about that. I own my car, so my car's still, my mother has like custody of her, if you will. So I have a vehicle. It's just really finding a job.
Okay.
Doing what I want to do. I mean, I can go work at McDonald's, there's nothing wrong with that, or Walmart, whatever. But getting back into the field that I left originally, that's my concern.
The biggest challenge I have, I feel, is that in as much as I'm going to change, I have to realize that not everybody else is going to change. And that they might just be the same.
I think it's, if I choose, which I'm leaning towards going to grad school, probably like social work with like an emphasis in community development. I think it will be a challenge to kind of get back into the rhythm of higher education, and I'm going to be one of the older students, and yeah, I think that will be a little bit of a challenge, but I think I'll have these experiences that are going to shape the rest of my life. So I don't think I've really tried to work on not comparing my lives with others, and so I'm just living the life I am now.
Thank you, Rachel.
You're welcome.
Well, thanks, Lisette.
That's it.
Thanks, Denise.
You're welcome.
So thanks for watching my video. I'm aware it's a different background, different shirt. Didn't like the intro part of it. That's because I'm in a different place with a different outfit filming this. I was waiting to film Lisette's questions before I filmed the outro. So that's why it's this outfit. But I hope you guys enjoyed hearing an older volunteer's perspective, even though it's not exactly an older volunteer. They're not really that old at all. But that's the best I could do for you here in Cameroon. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, like, subscribe if you want. If you have any questions or any videos you want to see, leave it in the comments below. Thanks for watching.